Hey everybody, welcome back to Aries Gaming. I apologize for the delay in posting a video. Life has just been crazy. But anyway, today I would like to display me spending some time on an ice sheet in Rimworld and how that went. So with these guys, I just tried to create a set of people that were relatively balanced, mostly because the specific pawns weren't like super specific to this challenge, but essentially I just wanted a place that was extremely challenging, as well as, just a challenge basically. So I started off by creating a small area for them to live. The biggest thing with cold places like this is insulation. Until you are able to build outfits that have, different levels of insulation, the most important thing right now is heat. And so I tried to quickly create a small little barrier that my colonists could spend some time in. One thing with making insulated barriers is that the distance from the temperature, or like the outside and the inside, matters a lot. And so I often try to build double walls with these because it will insulate the area in increments, so to speak. So this outer layer here that I have will be slightly cold, and then the inner layer will be the warmest possible. And so that's what I try to create. I did use wood walls for this part, just because that's what I had at the time. So we'll see how that works. But the problem is that there's no trees in the ice sheet. So in hindsight, I probably should have just built like steel or built blocks or whatever. But I was really concerned with just getting them inside at this point. So as you can see, I'm just having them build on like a quicker speed just so I can try to get past the monotony, and I'll kind of cut through as the video goes just so you can see how this whole thing played out. Very entertaining to say the least, but not my best work, I will say. So they all fell asleep and things were okay, I guess, but I'm seeing now as I scan through the land that there's no animals, there's not much places to plant anything, and really it's barren. So ultimately, the beginning of an ice sheet is really just getting your basics down very, very quickly, because the temperature is going to soon plummet and animals aren't going to be there, so you have to figure out alternatives to get things done. So scanning the area, I noticed that there was some pretty scary creatures on top. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're pretty intimidating, and to be honest, I just purchased biotech, and so I think this is part of that DLC, and I have no idea how to tackle them yet. So we're just going to try to ignore them, or maybe try to use them to our advantage at some point. But yeah, I'm not messing with that. I can't even like have food to eat. I'm definitely not going to try to fight some robots. There is a nice vein of steel here though, so I will use that. Basically just try to finalize my basics here. There's some steam geysers around too, which is really nice for energy when we get there. They also help keep you warm as a side note. So had I planned this a little bit better again, I probably would have built the area over the steam geyser, because that also provides free heat, electricity free heat. Only annoying thing is when the electricity part comes, there's going to be a giant machine in the way, so it's not going to really make it easy to build around, and it also gets super duper hot. But anyway, ideally for a map like this, you like to look at your neighbors and utilize them to trade as much as possible, especially for food and animals and resources like that. They can be invaluable because it's really hard to grow your own thing in here unless you build a greenhouse. But everyone around here hates me, so that's not going to happen. Speaking of everybody hating me, I definitely started to get attacked really earlier than I expected in this map, but also it's kind of my fault because I chose Randy Random as my runner of this playthrough. But yeah, I had these two guys attack and I handled it the best that I could. I only unfortunately ended up with one person that can shoot. The other person is a brawler, and so if I enable gun use with them, they would be unhappy, and so I tried to just run up on them and try to stab them, but yeah, I just really threw myself right into the line of fire there. The one guy had a gun, but the other one had Molotov cocktails, and so he was really just trying to blow our entire base up. Entire base being that tiny little square that I built. So I was really trying to protect it with everything that I had. But fortunately, my guy here definitely got knocked out. But we figured it out, and everyone just ended up having to be healed. Yeah. Like I said, definitely not my best work. I wish I would have just enabled the gun on this guy to just help protect us, because he really has good shooting skills, but he would have been super unhappy. So, I'd rather be unhappy than dead. So definitely should have fixed that. Next, I wanted to build a kitchen/fridge area, just to start making some dedicated spots here, and to kind of add to areas to find warmth. The ice sheet makes all of this extremely difficult, as you can imagine. But luckily, I do have a windmill generator running that's providing a small amount of energy, just because I have no wood, or I should say like a constant source of wood for a regular generator. And so I thought this would be the smartest way to try to sustain things inside until we're able to unlock a geothermal generator that uses the steam geysers. As you can see, we're using steel here to build these outer walls because I have very little wood left, and I think that the steel would work well to help keep things warm. I didn't double wall here just because as the heat build in the internal parts of the building, it should really be able to spread here, but also I plan on attaching the fridge here so that things can be moved in and out and it not affect the temperature of everything else. I also decided to create a butcher spot because, again, I don't have enough wood to create a butcher table, and that required, I think, 20 wood, and I didn't have enough. So the butcher spot gets the job done, but you do lose some meat and some leather from it. So I guess it's a double-edged sword there, but I did try because we were starting to get hungry and I didn't have many options here. So I also decided to create a dumping stockpile zone for bodies, human bodies, because my people started to get debuffs every time they walked past the dead raiders. So I wanted to move them there. And technically we could use human meat to help feed our colonists, but they would also get debuffs from butchering them or I should say eating it, depending on the different personality types. I do have one colonist that's bloodlust, which means they're all about fighting and they don't get debuffs from it. Another option would have been psychopaths or cannibals, but I didn't specifically look for these features in my colonists because being a cannibal wasn't a huge factor in creating this colony. I did decide to definitely buy everything I could from the first traders that came in because I wanted a ranch, first of all. So I got some goats, and I also decided to buy all the food that they had on hand because I don't know when the next I don't know when the next traders are coming through. The goats are really nice because they produce milk and babies, of course, which we can use for meat, but at the same time goats require food, so hopefully they'll start picking up on their drops really quickly so that everyone can be a good sustaining society. I really do like running ranches with certain animals because they can really come in handy. Again, downside being that I have to feed them. I definitely want to expand our little base here with that kitchen I described, as well as the storage for food, just because I'm definitely running out of space inside the barracks, and plus my colonists are not happy with their living situation, so slowly trying to improve it all. I know that I need to quickly change the storage situation in the kitchen because food will go bad in a warm area, but also you definitely get food poisoning more easily when things are in the same areas where you cook, just because it's just dirty. Definitely would not pass food service standards. But yeah, the traders are still hanging out for now. And I do plan on building a pen for the goats, because with the new updates, you have to keep them in a corralled area or they will just wander away. You won't be able to use them. So that's what I'm building here. Doesn't have to be very big. Ideally in a less cold area, you would utilize this spot to grow hay, and the animals will be able to graze, or you would just have a storage area where they would be able to pick up, kibble or, specific hay that you put in there. But either way works. In this case, I know that I won't be able to grow hay, so I just have an area for them to walk around. Honestly, could have probably been smaller, but just for aesthetic reasons, I decided to do this. I plan on expanding the area around the pen, so that essentially once the base is big and flowing, the pen is in the middle, because they will be targets for raiders, but they also have no defense. So I plan on kind of building around this. Okay, here you can see that some of the raiders got butchered by my guy with bloodlust, because he doesn't feel bad for doing it, which is awesome. But I wanted to use the human meat to make kibble for the goats, so that we don't have to waste the food, and they also get fed. Only other problem here is that kibble is made with greens as well. And so if I don't have any plant material like rice or berries or anything kind of fruit or vegetable related, then it won't work. That being said, shortly after that, I did also run out of plant material to use to make kibble, so I was screwed. I did see that there were some dirt patches kind of scattered around, and the temperature wasn't completely out of the growing temperatures, but definitely would make growing grass slow. Grass and rice. So I decided to kind of explore that anyway, and see if we're able to quickly grow a minimal amount of greens to then make the kibble. My goat is also pregnant, which is good and bad, because she may miscarry, by going into malnutrition. But it's also good, obviously, if we're able to get her to get into labor, and then we'll have another goat. But it's worth a try to see, if we can get any kind of sustainable food here. Fast forward another couple of days, and we have some rice growing. Not quick enough. I did try to cut a few sprigs and see if I can get some produced, but they're not grown enough to even get anything. So unfortunately, the animals had to go, because my colonists needed to eat and I couldn't even feed the animals. So this is unfortunately what we were left with. I did get really lucky for a second, and there was a whole crazy herd of hares coming through. I don't know if herd is the right word, but there was a group of hares that came through, and I was like, yes, let's get some meat. So I went through and I stabbed a bunch of them, because shooting would be too slow. And so the brawler went through and he got a few, which was really, really awesome. Not a lot of meat per bunny, but I mean, definitely still some food. Then my worst fear happened. Well, actually, I thought it was going to go well, because I saw that there was a quest for a kid that needed somewhere to stay. He was only going to have 2 people chasing after him. I really thought that I could handle it. Plus, wouldn't I be a complete jerk if I just said, F this kid, I'm going to ignore this quest. And so I said, yes, Gonzalo, you can come spend time with us. I'll protect you. Everything will be great. You will grow up and protect us and be our hero, and, help us get some food together. Now, here's what happened. So the raiders came in, and I tried to figure out the best way to attack this. My plan was really to get some human meat off of them, maybe steal some clothes, maybe they would die with some food. I really have this whole thing planned out perfectly in my head. The key word here is planned. I initially tried to start shooting off at these mechs over here, hoping that it would wake somebody up and they would go attack each other, and then hopefully I could figure out how to handle the mech when they then turned on us. But for whatever reason, my gun wasn't really strong enough, so when I was shooting at them, it really wasn't doing anything. And then I really got scared that I was gonna mess this whole thing up, so I just decided to shoot after the raiders. I didn't quite realize that the guy with the guns was stronger than me, and also the other person that they brought with them was a grenader. Not just regular grenades, but toxic grenades. And so I only sent one person out because that's really all I had besides Gonzalo, and that wasn't going to work. You can't put kids out in the war zone, not legally at least. So I tried to fight this by myself, and here's what happened. First, I tried to have everybody run inside, and hopefully that was going to save us. But I was wrong. People started passing out from starvation, or I guess fear. Basically, I had nobody to fight. And so the raiders decided to destroy every little thing that I owned. They decided to throw grenades and shoot and just really, I don't even know. Any kind of shred of hope that I had for this colony quickly went down in, I don't know, all of 30 seconds. I have now decided that you say no to any child that tries to join your group, because all they will bring is chaos, and they will also die, and so will the rest of your colonists. And honestly, I literally lasted, I think it was 13 days in this colony before everything started to just die. I even watched for a while to see if the man in black would come save us. It's usually a character that will come and he'll have like a gun and a little bit of armor, and he'll come save you. So that did happen. And I was like, okay, great. He can try to clean this up since they decided to kidnap some people. But he was incapable of firefighting. And that's when I really gave up. So anyway, hopefully next time I do this challenge, I can actually accomplish it and show you guys some great tips. But as you may know, Rimworld never gives you a perfect story, no matter how prepared you feel like you are. So I plan on trying to prepare better next time, and hopefully being able to show you guys some great tips. Unfortunately, my ranch didn't work out so well out here in the ice, but there's always next time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I plan on doing another challenge really, really soon. And if you guys have any suggestions, please put them down in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe. It all means a whole lot to me. Thank you guys again, and I hope you have a great day.